Another Sunday. Happy Sunday. Sunday morning miracles. Let me see here. Give a couple minutes for people going live.
Where is everybody?
They'll come. Being on time is a challenge for the world to form. There's always something going on.
Yeah. So I'll be calling you later on this week because I'm supposed to get my check tomorrow.
All right, awesome.
You know,
I got strep throat.
get the fuck out of here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Who does that shit? What are you, a fucking teenager or something?
I don't know, man. It's no good. Good morning. Good morning, people on Facebook, people on IG. Thank you for being here this morning. We will get started shortly. We're going to give everyone just a couple minutes to jump on. Yeah, so a big part of this week, having so many calls with people about investing, about where they're at financially. And it just got me thinking about some of the things that we talked about in the trainings that Tony Robbins talks about is what is our um, limiting beliefs, right? Our world is really just an outward manifestation of what we believe. And I was thinking about how, you know, you shared about having credit card bills coming and then going, and then we clear them and then we rack up debt again. And a big part of it for us is that it is really easy for us to manifest things. Like if we want to manifest more money, we can do it very easily. But if our mind and our being is not in alignment to that receiving, we oftentimes self sabotage and we throw it away. So I listened a lot this week to Marianne Williamson, who shared a lot about career and how resistant we are to success ourselves. But we'll talk about that today. We'll give another 2 minutes for people to jump on, and then we'll go live, or we are already live. So uh, just 2 more minutes, and anybody that has comments, things like that, you can just post it in. I believe I can see the chats. Not 100% sure. All right. So we're going this morning on IG, on our normal Zoom, on Facebook, YouTube. My goal is to impact and touch as many people's lives as I can. Share share love, share joy, share peace. Hopefully today, as a result of being here, you will find a little more peace in your day. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time, and even if you're briefly joining us, I want to wish you well today, wish you peace today. And we'll get started with a quick prayer or intention setting. Dear God, reveal to us the blockages to the awareness of love. Reveal to us that what is our true calling, the light that we are, that we've always been. Reveal to us any parts of myself that is not open to receiving. so that I may recognize and live into the abundance of the kingdom of heaven. Help me remove any obstacles to peace. Help me remove any obstacles to love, to joy. I don't ever really need to know what to say or what to do, for you will guide me. You will tell me what to say and to whom. Help me recognize that I'm always in the right place at the right time. Help me hear your voice. Help me hear the Holy Spirit, so that I may be more compassionate, so that I may see the capacity in which I'm able to love and accept. Help me see my investments, my relationships for what they are: full expressions of love, opportunities to trust. Help us, guide us this morning. Let our words and our shares and our moments together be exactly what we need to hear. Help us recognize that all of our problems are just different forms of our separated selves. Help me recognize what resistances do I have to the downloads, to that infinite knowledge. Help me let go, that the burdens of this world does not rest on my shoulders. And that we recognize everything we do is always great. Everything that's happening is always in service of the greatest good, of me and of the collective. Help us recognize these things this morning, so that we may have more peace in our day, so that we may love a little more, laugh a little more, be more joyous people. Amen. Okay, good morning. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining me wherever you are watching this. Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Um, People on the Zooms, you guys know we've been doing this for a little over 3 years. We have about 76 members that go in and out, depending on if they can be available to be on this call on every Wednesday and every Sunday. Um, yeah, thank you guys for being here. And today I want to share some. Uh, I listened to Marion Williamson a lot this week, because she talks a lot about career, talks a lot about business, and how do you bring spirituality into all this. And we'll also continue our reading today. We'll start chapter, I believe we're starting chapter 8 now. Um, Let me double check that. Yeah, so we're starting chapter 8 today. But Marianne Williamson talks a lot about career, bringing spirituality out there, and what's really the blockages to the downloads. And Tony Robbins says it's the limiting beliefs that block us. And she says it's the resistances to the downloads, which really is the same thing. You know, words are symbols, but really they're pointing to the same thing. And one thing that Marianne Williamson said that really um, had me look a little bit deeper this week is that we are the faucet, we're not the water. We're the faucet and we're not the water. That means the source of the information that comes into our mind, like where our thoughts come from, we are simply a channel to let spirit flow through us. We're the faucet. How much we are open, how much water flows through us only depends on how open we're able to be. Right? You turn the faucet down a little bit, you put some resistances in there, and now you got less water coming through. We are not the water. We're not in charge of right and wrong and judgments of the world. The world simply is ideas, as this water that's flowing through. So, a quick prayer that I always do is just let me be whatever I need to be to serve. Let these ideas come to me, come through me, use me in whatever way needs to be used so that I may bring more awareness to love, to God. And that's my ultimate mission in life is that. Um, let me also record on my computer this morning. So my ultimate mission is to find the blockages to the awareness of love for myself. And yeah, this morning we're going to talk about, we'll start with how to be the faucet, how to recognize that we are the faucet and that we are not the water. Energies flow through us, and we get to look at where we are closed. Where is the download blocked so that we're afraid? Anxiety comes up for us. We're in conflict, we fight, we argue, we judge. And one thing that I heard this week that was very hilarious to me is that if if the world if what holds the universe together and the world together was on your shoulders and on my shoulders, then our anxiety and our conflict would be justified. See, that's the whole premise of the course. And that's the whole premise of peace, is to release all these responsibilities that we thought was ours, which is not. You know? Um, one second. And we just have to simply let those things go. We let them go. How? We let them go by giving up our frustrations, our fears, our guilts. We give it over to God or universe, whatever you want to call it. By giving it over, it may seem scary at first because we lose this control. But we're not really losing anything. And some of the things that has come up for me this week, especially because I got strep throat. And it's like, oh, here you can give yourself time off. You don't need to be doing these calls. You shouldn't be doing your Thursday night calls. You shouldn't be doing your Monday night calls. Put a Course in Miracles off. It's really, for me, it's just form. It's another form of a resistance for me. This illness that's showing up. And so I've actually it feels like when I'm swallowing, there's like glass that's going down and I can't really turn my head. But as I sat down this morning and, just gave a little prayer that you know, it's not really about how I'm going to be doing it. It's the intentions behind what I'm doing, and people will hear. And then no matter what it looks like, even if it looked bad or, I can't speak, the intentions behind it will speak to somebody. But really, there is nobody else out there. It's speaking to me. What healing do I need to hear this morning? What limiting beliefs, what resistances do I have? We are the faucet, we're not the water. So where am I being closed off where I need to open again. And we can all look at that. It's really simple. Resistances to our downloads is ideas of this world. I don't have enough time. I'm not good enough. I'm too old. I'm too late. I'm too stupid. These are all resistances. Good morning. Good morning. These are all our resistances to the download. And where we're turning the faucet off and not allowing water to flow through us. I mean, this could be a way that we look at everything, how we do in life. Do we hoard things? Do we hold on to money and worship money? Do we hold on to love? Do we withhold from our family, our friends? Do we withhold ideas? I hear this a lot. I have a really amazing idea, but we can't tell anybody. Someone's going to steal it from us. And more often than not, that conversation and that resistance and that idea, good morning, Annie, turns into nothing happening. Ideas grow as they are shared. Ideas get bigger as more people believe in it. So if you really want something to happen, share it. One of the courses, the teachings of the Holy Spirit is to have something. If you want to keep something, you got to give it away. Now that doesn't really make sense in the world of form or in where we live, this planet Earth. When we give money away, we have less. So it's not really about the form itself. It's about how open we can be. Can we be open? Can we allow God to work through us? Let spirit flow through us. And this morning, I hope that on this call we can recognize where are the resistances to the downloads, what's blocking your downloads, what are the conversations? Or you can look at what are the limiting beliefs. What are the limiting beliefs about why you don't have what you have? Why you're operating in scarcity? Why you don't have a good relationship with your partner? Why you don't have a good relationship with your kids? Why you don't have the money to pay all the bills and buy the things you want? It's usually a very simple belief behind it, but we complicate it. The Course says truth is simple, but not for the twisted mind. The twisted mind complicates everything. That means we complicate everything to a point where we don't really understand what the source of the problem is. And the source of the problem is that somehow you're not allowing the water to flow through you. You are blocking it with what you think is your own intelligence, your own responsibility, your own judgments, your own opinions, your own strength. Of course, if your own strength, if the world depended on your strength, if your world depended on your own strength, your pains, your anxieties would be justified. But it does not. With or without you being here, this world will continue to spin. It will continue to go on. So can we be here and see the world as is rather than as we want it to be? See, our peace and our joy is going to come from our ability to surrender and to accept what is, not from trying to change things to what we think we want. Because lesson 5, well, not lesson 5, early on, we don't perceive our own best interest. And I'm not upset for the reason that I think. That means I don't really know what I truly want. I think I want more money. I think I want a nice car. I think I want a nice house. I think I want status. I want power. But those things come and then they go. We get a nice car and then we have it for a while. We end up getting tired of it or taking it for granted. Isn't that how all relationships are? Oh, I wish I wasn't taken for granted. And then we blame the other person. We blame something outside of ourselves for taking us for granted, which really it's if we see that, it means it's happening this way out. Everything that we learn in personal development, transformational work, A Course in Miracles, it's a one-way street. Okay, we don't use this, we don't weaponize this. The ego will weaponize it and attack others and make others less than, make ourselves feel superior. But we don't need to do that. All this work is a one-way street. We do it. We know that as we extend love, the awareness of love becomes available to me in my mind. So all of us needs to, myself included, I'm definitely a little baby in this game too. But my practice is how do I be a clear channel? And all I ask for from God is to use me. Use me in whatever way, whatever platform I'm on, however I need to be, whoever I need to share your message, to remind my brothers and myself who we are, so that we may demonstrate more miracles out there. The Course says miracles are natural state. Miracles are always happening. Expansion's always happening. Abundance is always happening. The ego, however, that's what gets in the way. So we all got to get clear on what is it that we think about money? What do we think about relationships? What do we think about capitalism? Whatever it is that you don't have, what is it that you think about the root of it? So many of my conscious spiritual side of friends don't want to think money is somewhat evil. Oh, I don't care about money. I don't care about money, but if that's the case, then anything that you do, why should you get paid for it? So you'll end up having this idea for yourself that you don't care about money and why you should get paid, why you shouldn't get paid for it. So really, we're self-sabotaging because we at least want enough money to have a roof over our heads, to eat, right? Maybe to help others, to enjoy life a little bit. But we have ideas about wealthy people. What does it mean to have money? How much should I charge people? I shouldn't charge people because this body of work is just about love and about opening. All energies are the same. Money is no different than love. See, that's something that triggers people. Why is this person only talking about money? Why do they talk about nice cars, nice houses, nice planes? What about the planet? See, it doesn't matter what your conflict is as long as you have conflict, you're not at peace. And you stop the flow of the abundance energy, your awareness to abundance. So whatever you are unclear about, whether it's money, love, why can I be in a loving relationship? Why can I have money? It's what you think about it. If we're unclear about it and our message is not in alignment to abundance, to the ever flowing of peace and of money, love in my life, I will sabotage my own success. This is why we have money, then we lose it. Then we have money and we lose it. And manifestation is easy. It's easy for us to manifest something, but if we are not in the state of receiving, if we can't receive it, then we automatically sabotage it and then it's lost to us. So if you have love problems, if you can't love people, if you don't trust people, if you don't have money, if you have resistance to money, that's the resistance to the download, because it's not about it's not about the money itself. It's about what power does, how power, the idea, the thought of money, what power that has over you. And if you want peace, if you want more abundance, if you want more love in your life, you have to give all those judgments of it over to God so that you may see things as is rather than how you want to see it. The course also says that your childhood is not what you think it was. I was listening to Marianne Williamson share one of her stories that she, based on her early career, she based her teachings and what she talked about and what she preached on on her parents' relationships, her father and her mother, and how they were in fights and the things that she saw and the traumas around it. And when she finally decided to heal this trauma around her parents, like truly letting go of her judgment of it and her experience of it, is studying the course. We say the past didn't happen the way that we thought it did. People did not do to us what we thought they did to us. So then she started being open. As soon as she started being open, she started reading letters that her dad wrote to her mom. And she was like, whoa, their relationship was nothing like I thought. I heard the fights. I heard how they were at each other. But then she read the letters and it changed her mind completely. So our past is not the way that we thought it went down. Our childhood. And it doesn't even have to go all the way back to childhood, but even you can say my last relationship or even the relationship I'm in right now. My partner did not do what I thought they did. It's my judgment of it. The last deal that I was in did not go down the way that I thought it did. How do we know? The course also says to us that all energies are either all energies ideas are either a host to God or a hostage to the ego. And this is basically saying that we have two choices. Our come from, our thoughts, the words that come out of our mouths, the way we are with our partners, with our business partners, with strangers, with the homeless man on the street panhandling for money. Your thought is either one that is with God or it's with the ego. And with the ego, you feel like you have no control. And this is why so many of us find pain, find all the pain in this world, depression in this world, is because we're so conditioned to find happiness and joy attached to things outside. I mean, do we get some sort of satisfaction when we buy something? I mean, I certainly do. When I buy a new pair of shoes, I get happy for a minute, but it's not the source of happiness. When money comes into my bank account, I get happy for a couple minutes, but it's not the source of my happiness because it fades. I've given it power that it really does not have. And so it fades. Relationship, same thing. Am I happier when I'm in a relationship? I don't know. I have the opportunity to learn for sure of what's in the way, but when we place our happiness and our joy to the things that are out there, outside of us, we are not happy. We find our way back to what is wrong with this thing. We find conflict again with the people that are close to us. Living a spiritual life is truly having a conscious connection to what's going on in here and in here, in our hearts and in our minds. Having a deep conscious connection to that. All the Zen stories, all the Eastern stories are of when when somebody has a true self-realization moment. Something shows up and you have a true self-realization moment that anger comes from within, comes from our projection. It's not from outside. Wherever you are confused, wherever you lose your peace, you are placing your sense of peace on something that's outside. All our problems lie here. All our problems lie from our separation to the connection of what's inside us. That disconnect is the resistance to God. That that right there is where we turn the water off. Again, the earlier idea for anybody that was not here and missed it, today's theme is about being the faucet. We are the faucet, we are not the water. Water flows water flows through us. And where do we have resistance to the downloads, to the energy? You know, we place our peace on our partners. We place it on an investment deal. We place it on our jobs. We place it on our bosses, our coworkers. We place it on things outside. Whenever you are unhappy, whenever you lose your peace, it's because you are attaching things to what's going on out there. You're trying to rearrange things outside so that you think you can have happiness. And this is why so much of our world is starting to have so many people are having depression because the more we give our power to things outside, the more disconnect we have to this connection within. And this is why a lot of people claim and stand by meditation. Meditation is the time that you have downloads, prayers, setting intentions, sacred spaces where you get to really just work on the download itself, where it's you and God or you and source, whatever you want to call it. So, again, just for anybody that's hopping on new, whether you're live or on Zoom or on Instagram, wherever, if what holds the universe together is on your shoulders, then your angst, your judgment, and your conflicts would be understandable, would be justified. But it does not. There is an infinite, divine, universal intelligence out there that already created all that is, and it's already perfect. You need but be there to enjoy. You do not need to go and change and do anything. This is the problem with human beings. Don't we wherever we go, do we not just create destruction because we think things would be better a different way, a certain other way? And so more and more we feel disconnected. Now, I don't know. I don't know if our world is supposed to go in this direction first and then go in the other. So I'm not judging. It may sound like I'm judging, but I'm really not. I am always as well a student of the course, of practicing letting go of my own judgments, being careful and aware to my own projections into space. Sometimes silence is the only space that is available. Sometimes silence is the only space that's available. That's an interesting concept for us. When our minds are always so loud and there's always thoughts running, we always want people to be exactly where we are. But every moment is a new moment. And if we but pay attention to, are we Are we being a host to God, or are we being a hostage to ego? If we spend enough time just paying attention to that, there will probably be less talking and more listening. Now, that's not to say we should stop talking, but when we are completely aware of what am I being the minister of? What is my message in this world? Because most people see me and they think real estate, investments, money. I should invest with Alex. Or, if we talk about investments, let's talk with Alex. Some of you know me as a Course in Miracles student slash teacher. And this is actually what's most important to me. All of my messages, no matter if it comes to money or anything, it's really about bringing more love and more trust into our lives. Everything I do I try to keep it in alignment to that. I don't, I know that money that I make is not the source of my happiness. I know closing deals is not the source of my happiness. And this is huge. People ask me often, "How are you so good at raising money?" And I don't really know how to answer that a lot of times because most of my conversations with people are not about money at all. And this is why the source of your abundance is not in your job or not in somebody else. If you're in sales, I mean, we're all in sales. If you're When you're in sales and you're trying to get somebody to buy a product and you think that they are the source of your happiness and you need to close this deal in order to pay this bill so that you can be happy, if you think that's the source, there will be some level of manipulation in your conversation with the person. And when I say manipulation, I don't really mean it in a bad way. I just mean it like you want something to work out for you. You are going to manipulate a situation so that it works out for you. You're not thinking about what's best for this person. Maybe you can trick yourself to think that, and it might work. But you have to truly believe that the source of your happiness and joy comes from being able to be a good faucet, allowing a lot of water to flow through you. That the source of your happiness, the source of your income, does not come from this person. And I always think about, yeah, it'd be great if this person invested with me, but that's not that's not why we're here. I actually asked God in that moment, why are we here? Why am I talking to this person? It may seem like they set up a call with me or we're talking about real estate deals or investments, but I'm just in discovery of why we're even here talking to each other. I'm not really trying to close you. It'd be great if I do, but that's not that's not the reason why we're here. So from my conversations with people, 99% of them don't turn into some sort of investment, but it does turn into a new relationship being built. It does turn into trust being built, confidence in each other being built, getting to know each other a little bit deeper. I've started partnerships in business together from these calls, just from talking to people, truly wanting to know, like, what's up for you? What's in the way? What can I do to help? So I got a message. It's not easy. It's not an easy task to keep your message consistent in all areas of your life. Now that's a great limiting belief right there for us. It's not easy to keep all our messages consistent. But it's not about doing it right every time. It's about knowing that majority of the time, sometimes I'll speak on Zoom and I'll speak to people and I'll have my Monday night calls about real estate, Thursday night calls. Sometimes I'll be on those calls and just really feel like I sound like an idiot. And I'm like, man, that was a terrible call. But it's my own judgment to myself. And then somebody goes, wow, I learned so much from that one thing you said. Your intentions of what you're doing, if you give it over to God, God will decide what you need to say and how you need to say it and how people will hear it. Because to yourself, you might sound like you aren't really connected when you're speaking. Maybe in different areas of your life, you feel incongruent. But if you give it all to God, then the message is always, at least majority of the times, that it's delivered a certain way. It will touch people. You don't have to do it right. You don't have to do it the best to be able to change, to be able to impact somebody. And so it's really just about doing it. There's a part in the course that says, from this point on, you will not go alone. Mighty companions will join you. That takes a lot of faith and a lot of trust. Right now, you can say for yourself that from this point on, I will not go alone. Mighty companions will join me. Who are your mighty companions? It could be people, but it could just be trusting in the Holy Spirit to guide you. It's a mighty companion. Because so much of what really gets in our way is our own judgments of ourselves in relationship or comparison to people, to others. So, yeah, sometimes it's not easy to keep our message consistent, but this is why we have to meditate on it. We have to reflect on it ourselves. That's why sometimes silence, and I was just sharing this, but goes back in a little bit of a circle, is that silence sometimes is the only space that's available, is the best space that's available right now. So that you can get your life consistent, congruent. If your life is dependent, if your joy and happiness is dependent on things outside of you, of course it's going to be super hard to keep your message consistent because the world is chaotic. It's pulling you in all sorts of different directions. So it's not really, if love and peace is on your mind, then you will bring love and peace everywhere you go. Different forms. One could be in the real estate industry. One could be, it could just be at home with your family. It could be with your partners. It could be with your kids. It might look like different forms, but it's all the same thing. But everywhere we go, there is an idea or there's something that is blocking the download in this moment. That I am not allowing myself to be a clear channel so that water flows through me. What is my resistance to my partner? What is my resistance to what's going on right now? See, anxiety comes up through for us because we think something should be different than the way it is. Rather than working on acceptance and surrender to what is, we try to go and change it. We don't even understand what it is that we truly want from it, but we try to go change it. I mean, isn't that a little bit crazy? We don't even know what we want, but we go and throw a fit about it. We don't know what we want, and we go and buy a whole bunch of random things, thinking that buying all these things, and this is how Amazon thrives. No, is Prime Now. Right now, from the moment that I could buy, I want it to be delivered into my hands as quickly as possible. And then we're just buying shit all day. And I'm totally I also do this. I mean, I placed a Christmas tree outside our house so that our UPS or the Amazon guy can put the stuff under this tree. And it's funny because on Amazon they send you a picture of where your box is. So every day I get a box, I get a picture of boxes under my Christmas tree outside the house. And I'm like, I mean, so no judgments to doing this, but I'm just having fun with it. Every day is Christmas. But we want to look at, do things have power over us? It's not. See, a lot of the times it's not a question of whether something exists or not. Like my problems, do they actually exist? Like I'm not able to pay my bills, or my kid is completely rebellious, or whatever is happening, I'm losing my job, or whatever your challenge and conflict is. It's not a question about whether it exists. It's about whether it has or does not have power over you. This is why the course says nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. What is real in this moment is the question. It's up to you to decide what is real. Does it have power over me makes it real or not real? Does things that people say that trigger me, is it real or is it not real, does not really depend on what the truth is right there. It actually depends on your choosing. Will you be will the thoughts that go through your mind right now be a host to God, or to love, or to peace, to acceptance, to gratitude? Or will you be a hostage to the ego? And the ego is going to help you find some problems with this moment. Conflict. So, again, it's not about the form. It's about the way we do things. We can go into every investment with peace and trust and all that, or we could be freaking out the whole way. We could get on a ship and go from one shore to the other shore and totally be at peace, or freaking out the whole time. That's the thought right there. This is the only control you have. The course actually says be vigilant about using denial. Use denial in a positive way, not in a negative way. In a positive way is, I know what's going to bring peace to my mind. I must deny the illusions. I must deny the ego when the ego comes in and tries to hold me hostage. I know I'm being held hostage when I blame things outside of myself and I give power to things that don't have power. I know that I'm being held hostage then, when I'm being right. When I can say to myself, even in moments, and this is why my wife is the greatest teacher for me. In moments that I lose my peace, and most people out here, most of you guys that know me, well, maybe if you knew me a long time ago, you would know I lose my peace. But most people know, everyone's like, "Oh my God, how do you not lose your peace?" My wife would be like, "What are you talking about? He loses his peace at least 1,000 times a day over nonsense." So she is my greatest teacher, and she gives me the greatest opportunity to look. And that's why I'm so grateful for the relationship. I don't place my happiness and joy in her. I know that she gives me an opportunity to look at where I put things outside of myself, where I give my power over to something that it doesn't belong, where I blame her for when I'm upset, because I can literally say to myself, do I want peace or do I want to be right? And I'll literally in my mind say I want to be right. Like, it's so insane. As much as I practice, as much as I am a student to the course, I am insane. I know what I'm supposed to do to bring peace. But in those moments when I'm upset, like, I just cannot stop blaming her. If she can only just this, if she just woke up in the morning at 6 in the morning and sat with me and read the course and started her day with the course like I do every day, then we would be happier. If that's not giving your power over, I don't know what is. So I'll just I'll open it up for a couple questions right now if anybody wants to ask anything, and then we'll finish chapter 7. And maybe get into the first section of chapter 8. Okay. Um, Let me just see if we finished yeah, actually, we finished chapter 7 already. So, chapter 8 is about the journey back. This is a great chapter. And it's going to start in section 1, the direction of the curriculum. And you guys ready for the first line? The first line is knowledge is not the motivation for learning this course. Pieces. So, that line is profound. Do we not do things trying to gain some sort of knowledge? The course says all the knowledge is already in you. There is nothing that we can ever talk about that anybody talks about when it's in alignment to your highest spiritual journey that you don't already know. It's a reminder. Everybody is it's a reminder because you don't really actually hear when you and I sit together and we can listen to Ram Dass or listen to Marianne Williamson or anybody. We are hearing different things. We're trying to put things in the box so that we understand it. But this course says knowledge is not the motivation for learning this course. So we have to be while we read this course, what is the purpose of learning the course? What is the motivation to being on this call and to listening to me for an hour and a half and to even have your social media open long enough to hear me? The motivation is not about learning from me. The motivation is peace. Everyone being here, it's up to you to be vigilant and fight for peace. Fight for peaceful thoughts. I'm just speaking words. I'm just speaking symbols. How you take it, how it filters through you is completely up to you. And I do pray and I do hope that something that I say, something that is flowing through me will land for you and will bring more peace and more joy into your day today. And it's amazing when I'm in this space, like Sundays and Wednesdays, when I'm in this space of sharing A Course in Miracles, all things it's all good. Any stress that I have about anything is gone. My strep throat in this moment doesn't hurt. Well, now that I pay attention to it, it does. But I mean, I did not think I was going to be able to do this morning. My wife, Love, is like, you're like a little 5-year-old when you're sick. That's how I behave. Literally just sitting, laying on the couch, complaining every second about this, about that. But when I step into my ministry work of just allowing love to flow through me this moment, abundance, joy, peace to flow through me, everything's good. So I'll start, and then feel free to stop me at any point. Anybody can ask any questions. Those of you guys that are watching anywhere, you can comment, ask questions, reach out to me directly. Those of you guys that are on Zoom, feel free to just, unmute and ask me anything and stop. Uh, the invitation is that what we share, there's no judgment in this space. There's only what we think will be judged on us. And the thoughts that come to us are divinely placed in this moment. And if it's here, it means it's probably meant to be shared. And it's going to be transformed into light. So, knowledge is not the motivation for learning this course. Pieces. This is the prerequisite to knowledge, only because those who are in conflict are not peaceful. And peace is the condition of knowledge, because it is the condition of the kingdom. Knowledge can be restored only when you meet its conditions. This is not a bargain made by God, who makes no bargains. It is merely the result of your misuse of his laws on behalf of an imaginary will that is not his. Knowledge is his will. If you are opposing his will, how can you have knowledge? I have told you that knowledge what knowledge offers, but perhaps you have not yet regarded this as something that you wholly desire. If you did not if you did, you would not be so ready to throw it away when the ego asks for your allegiance. So if we really wanted joy and peace and happiness, which the course says is given to you, all you have to do is let go of your own judgments and give it over to God. Give it over to the Holy Spirit, to the universe, anything that you want to call it. If you can just give it over, you will have peace. So even though we know this, even though sometimes we have experience of this, but we don't truly know it, because if we truly did, we wouldn't be throwing it away to the ego every moment that we can. Every time that we blame other people and we give our power over, every time you give your power over, um, you're giving your allegiance over to the ego. The power is in you always. The connection is always in you. The distractions of the ego may seem to interfere with your learning, but the ego has no power to distract you unless you give it the power to do so. The ego's voice is a hallucination. You cannot expect it to say, I am not real. Yet you are not asked to dispel your hallucinations alone. You are merely asked to evaluate them in terms of their results to you. If you do not want them on the basis of the loss of peace, they will be removed from your mind for you. Every response to the ego is a call to war, and war does deprive you of peace. So every time that you get upset and you get into a conflict with somebody, it's the ego calling you to go to war. It's asking for your allegiance. We've been we've been watching Game of Thrones a little bit just to get prepared for House of Dragons. And my God, every single so we watched the show Gotham before this, and nobody dies in Gotham. Everybody just keeps coming back to life. And then in this show, everybody dies. Game of Thrones is actually super frustrating. Anybody that you end up liking, they kill them off. And I'm like, man, this I remember how upset I was with this show, but still so attracted to the drama. At every point, somebody is calling someone else for the allegiance to go to war with each other. And it does reveal, I mean, I'm literally watching it through the eyes of the course. And this so when I'm conscious and when I'm aware of it, I see all the lessons in this show. But then the show wouldn't be that entertaining for us, would it? So I suspend myself to a consciousness that believes everything that is happening in the show. And this is what we do in movies. Otherwise, we wouldn't enjoy any movies. We suspend our consciousness so that we can experience and we can have fun. And this is what we're doing here on this planet. We're suspending our consciousness from the ability to see peace and see God and see each other truly in the presence of light and love. We suspend it all so that this whole thing could be entertaining for us. That's what's going on. But any given moment, we can call ourselves back to this full conscious awareness, this conscious connection we have with inside. This is spiritual work. Spiritual work is to have this conscious, deep conscious connection to what's going on in your heart and in your mind. Um, every response of the ego is a call to war, and war does deprive you of peace. Yet in this war, there are no opponents. This is the reinterpretation of reality that you must make to secure peace, and the only one you need ever make. Those whom you perceive as opponents are part of your peace, which by giving up, which you are giving up by attacking them. How can you have what you give up? You share to have, but you do not give it up yourself. When you give up peace, you are excluding yourself from it. This is a condition so alien to the kingdom that you cannot understand the state that prevails within it. Your past learning must have taught you the wrong things simply because it has not made you happy. See, we can just so simple. The truth is so simple. If it does not make us happy, then we're being taught the wrong thing. We're teaching ourselves the wrong thing. We're accepting the wrong things. Joy and happiness is a natural condition to love and to the world. The world is always expanding in abundance. All the ideas that we have about the economy, being too old, being all the limiting beliefs that we have is all of this world. Again, it's not that this world does not exist. It's what are we giving the power over for? Okay, so it's not a question of whether something exists or not. It's whether or not it has power to pull you down. And who gives it that power? And if you know it's me, then that means peace and love is also up to you. It's up to you to include yourself and flow, tap into the flow of the world, which is constantly in expansion. There is no scarcity. I mean, uh, how afraid are people right now in the economy? Oh my God, inflation this, inflation that, the economy is going down, and we all have our opinions about it. But why are we giving ourselves this trouble? Everything that's happening is happening in perfect order. It seems chaotic for us because we are in resistance to it. On the Your past learning must have taught you the wrong thing simply because it has not made you happy. On the basis alone, its value should not be questioned. If learning aims at change and that is always its purpose, are you satisfied with the changes your learning has brought you? Dissatisfaction with learning outcomes is a sign of learning failure, since it means that you did not get what you wanted. How often do we think if we just got something, we would be happy? And then we get it, we're happy for a very short time, and then we're no longer happy again. You never got what you wanted. The Course makes a big distinction between magic and miracles. Miracles are natural occurrence. Magic is when we make something of something. We give something temporary power to give us peace and joy and happiness, and then it gets taken away, and the loss of it reinstates the fear. It actually doubles down on it. The curriculum of the atonement is the opposite of the curriculum you have established for yourself, but so is its outcome. If the outcome of yours has made you unhappy, and if you want a different one, a change in curriculum is obviously necessary. So, are you living in perfect peace and happiness and acceptance to all that's happening in your life? Because if you have made unhappy outcomes for yourself, then you must change the curriculum. This is no longer your curriculum. See, the Course says the curriculum is the same for all of us. It just looks a little bit different. The form of it looks different. But nobody here is worried about the form because form is only different based on our judgment of it. The first change to be introduced is a change in direction. A meaningful curriculum cannot be inconsistent. So this brings back to your question of how your message is inconsistent in areas in your life. It's not uh inconsistent. It's because you have your own curriculum. Your own curriculum is always going to make you confused. See, the right curriculum has no inconsistencies. If it is planned by two different teachers, each believing in diametrically opposed ideas, it cannot be integrated. See, the problem with us is that we think somehow that we can accept the ego and God at the same time. The problem with us is that we think we can listen to two separate teachers and find the truth in there. You must change your curriculum. because your current curriculum has led you down to pain and suffering. You are not in a state of peace. Now, if you are, great, continue your curriculum. But you have to be genuinely honest with yourself. Like, is it really bringing you peace and happiness? Do you have anxiety around what you're doing? Do you have anxiety around what's going on in your life, the relationship that you're in? So this leads to fluctuation, but not to change. See, when we think we can listen to two different teachers, what we have is fluctuations. We have highs and lows. And when we have highs and lows, we get addicted to the highs and lows and we seek out more highs. And then we actually seek out more lows without even knowing that we're doing that. This leads to fluctuation, but not to change. The volatile have no direction. They cannot choose one because they cannot relinquish the other, even if the other does not exist. Their conflicted curriculum teaches them that all direction exists and gives them no rationale for choice. The total senselessness of such a curriculum must be fully reorganized before a real change in direction becomes possible. You cannot learn simultaneously from two teachers who are in total disagreement about everything. Their joint curriculum presents an impossible learning task. They are teaching you entirely different things in entirely different ways, which might be possible, except that both are teaching you about yourself. Your reality is unaffected by both. But if you listen to both, your mind will be split about what your reality is. And this is our problem. Our problem is that our minds are split. We think that at sometimes we can be host to God, and sometimes we're host to the ego. Again, we are the faucet. We are not the water. The message and the love is already here. The world is abundant. The world is loving. The world is a canvas that is full of infinite possibilities of creation. It's always in expansion. In expansion is being in creation. And this is why we actually, we understand that two different worlds. We understand that we need to do things that are creative in our life because creativity allows us to tap into some form of energy that we know leads us to some sort of fulfillment and happiness. But creation is simply to extend the light of which you are, is to recognize who you really are in different moments. That I am a creator. And being in creation, being in creativity, we surprise ourselves all the time. We're like, whoa, this is me, but I didn't know this was what I was capable of. So see, that is being an expansion, and being an expansion is to align your will to the will of God's. And in that, we find a lot of peace. We find our purpose. But when we're listening to the other teacher, which just tries to blame the world for everything, tries to reorganize things outside in our lives so that we can find happiness and joy, that always fails us. Those are false idols. We make God of things that are not God. Money, cars, houses, power, status, relationships. We make God of all those things and we give over our power to it. And hence we listen to the other teacher. There are always something that is a limiting belief that we need to undo. All that we think we are, this is what the course says. The identity that you have created for yourself, the character that you have made for you and those around you, are ideas to be undone. You have made something that is not so. You have made light. You have limited light. You have limited the unlimited, the unlimitable. Is that a word? That's what we've done. When we have put people inside boxes and we put ourselves inside a box, that's what we've done. And so all that we think we are ideas that we have to undo. Now think about it. Anytime you lose your peace, anytime that you are upset, you're conflicted, it is because you are in direct conflict with the identity of who you are. You've made an identity of yourself and you will fight and you will go to war for it. Whether it's your so our identity are also our ideas about money, our ideas about the government, our ideas about, people, what should we do with people that do harm to others, and all these ideas that we've made up, they're all part of the identity of Alex. And we go to war to fight for those. Think about it. Every time that somebody has a different idea than us, we're ready to fight. And if there are places that you're not, that you're like, no, I am at peace, good. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the places that you aren't at peace. That they are your moments, your ability to learn in this moment. So let's see. The line in here that says, um, where is it? We just read it before. That what you're giving up, the things that you're giving up, it's not asking you to give it up yourself. That you can be guided. You have powerful allies from this moment on. You are not going alone. Powerful allies and companions will join you. This requires faith. No? So we have more time. I'm going to go into this section too. But I'll have anybody, if you guys want to share anything, let's see. Different words, same message. You cannot serve two masters. Yeah. You can't serve two masters that have diametrically different opinions or different teachings about everything. There is nothing that the Holy Spirit and the ego um, agrees on. That is why our world, to really start becoming spiritual, is to take this world and flip it upside down. And the first idea of flipping this world upside down is the concept of giving and receiving. See, in this world of form, giving happens, and then at some time later, receiving happens. Or giving happens and receiving doesn't even happen. And now I'm like, oh, I feel drained. My cup is empty. I'm always doing how many of us say I'm always doing this, I'm always doing that for somebody? Parents beating their kids, saying it hurts me more than it hurts you. So stop hurting yourself. Giving and receiving. See, I give you something, I have less of it, you have more of it. That's the idea of the form of this world. And the course points to the opposite, or the other teacher who's going to teach you peace, is that the more you give, that the idea of giving to have something is you must give it away. That doesn't make sense to us in the form, in the world of form. Because I give you $5, I got $5 less and you have $5 more. I give you $100,000, now I have $100K less and you have $100K more. And then we think love is done that way, guilt is done that way. Oh, if I want to get rid of my guilt, this is unconsciously, it's how simple it is. I want to get rid of my guilt and pain, so I project it and I take it out on somebody else. And it's somehow justified because I had a bad day. My boss said this or someone did this. So now I'm justified in coming back and throwing a fit and projecting all my angers out onto you, and to my dog, whatever. We think that if we just projected it, see, because we think we believe that giving and receiving happens this way. See, you can't take on these teachers. They teach two different teachers. One will teach you the more you project it, the bigger it grows for you, the more you're going to have it. See, the way the Holy Spirit teaches us is that if you want to keep and you want to have something, you must give it away. If I want to experience more love, I got to go out there and give more love to people. If I project my guilt onto others, then there's going to be more guilt in them and in me. It just grows. Ideas grow as more people believe in it. Ideas grow as it's shared. See, we can dig that. I can grasp that. Yeah. Ideas grow as it's shared. I get that. But see, it's incongruent in your mind. This is why we're conflicted and we're confused. Our twisted mind is trying to learn from two different teachers. Yeah, I get that if I spread love, more love will be in my space. But I don't get that if I give $100,000 away, now I have $100,000 more. That doesn't make sense to me. See how it's confusing? We cannot learn from two different teachers. It's either the form of this world or it's the idea of heaven. One will give you peace, one will give you anxiety. You have not decided for yourself yet that peace is what you want. And so every day we get to practice. We get to change our relationship to our triggers. We get to change our relationship to the things that rob us of our peace. Can you start to when somebody when somebody drives by you or when somebody honks at you or cuts you off, can you change your relationship to your reactions to those things? That's the practice. Every one of my brothers, every idea, everything that happens each moment is giving us that opportunity to learn about what's in the way of peace. So, yeah, throughout the day, just look at what is peaceful and what is not for you. And then you realize, which teacher do I have to learn from? One will just throw you down into the spiral of blame, projection, projecting it out onto others. We do this all day. If we really pay attention to ourselves, just be aware for the next, I don't know, just for today. Be aware of how you do everything. At what point do you blame somebody for something that's happening? You blame something, you blame someone, a situation for the peace that I lost today. Just notice that. And you might notice how far out down into craziness and insanity that we will go to be right about the fact that we are victims to this. So you must choose which teacher, which curriculum. If the curriculum that you've been following so far has led you to a lot of pain, then it's a curriculum change. It's not the outside, it's not rearranging something in your life so that it changes. Because even if you manifested $100,000 or $1,000,000, if you are not aligned to that energy, to the receiving of that energy, you will self sabotage and you will throw yourself into a hole and you will lose it.
Alex, I
Yes.
have a question.
Hi.
So, hi. So in terms of like something, because some concepts I struggle, like in a situation where boundaries or perhaps cheating, infidelity, what's the breakdown in something like that?
Yeah. So again, this is something that's happening in the form of this world. It's bodies. Somebody cheating like this person belongs to me. Nothing really belongs to you and everything belongs to you. So what is the where are you losing your peace? Now, I'm not saying okay, so I'm not saying that I condone these things from happening. Okay, but what I'm saying is for yourself to find peace, you have to see where the trigger is for you. Where am I trying to be in possession and control things that are not really mine to be in control or in possession of? How do I know that this event happening is not in my best interest? And again, we're looking at not that it exists or not that the pain wouldn't be there if this happened. We're looking at what power does it have over me? And this is always a great topic. What if my spouse or what if my partner cheats on me, and how should I react? Should I just be like, "Oh, it's okay," It's up to you to choose. Now, the thing is, if it brings you more fear and brings you more into guilt, then you should stay away from it, because it's not going to give you the opportunity to be in a safe enough environment for you to want to see it a different way. So I'm not saying when something bad is happening, you should just stay in it. You should force yourself in there, because you don't need to. So boundaries itself is so there's two thoughts to that. One, boundaries used in the correct way is for you to stay in a safe space so that you can come to consciousness. You can come to self-realization. You can come to this connection with yourself. Now, s- a wrong way of using boundaries is to create separation. Is I think I know what I want. So I'm going to put this boundary, so you must behave in accordance to what I want you to behave so that it doesn't cross me. But we don't know what we want. So what do we even how do we know if something's crossing us or not? And this is a hard idea for the ego to accept and grasp, because the ego is like, no, 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 no. This is real. I am getting hurt. So you're gonna have to change your curriculum if this starts to happen for you. Is why am I attracting this into my life? What lesson am I here to learn? See, we can change our relationship to our fears around it too. But it's not to throw us in the fire. If we throw ourselves into the fire, we're not going to be learning anything. We're going to be in this survival mode. This is why if you want to talk about God with a homeless person, it better be in the form of food, shelter, something like that. Right? So for you, if you are experiencing that, you don't have to sit in that space to allow to heal from it. You can heal from a distance. It's actually better to take yourself out of a situation where you are in extreme fear, because fear doesn't help you wake up. Fear keeps you in it. So you can distance yourself from that situation, whether it's in your mind or physically. Um, but at the end of the day, no one's really hurting you. There is nobody else. They can't actually hurt you. See, our problem really is simply our disconnection to our brothers, our inability to accept what is. And even in infidelities, even in cheating and things like that, it's still on some level, I want things to be this way, and it's not happening the way that I want it, so I'm going to throw a fit and I'm justified. Now, in the world of form that we live in, yeah, it's justified. Cheating, killing, hurting others. But we are so confused about all of it that we think everything's happening that way. And we're so drawn to drama that we actually call it into our lives. And then the ego exempts our participation in it. It's not my fault that somebody cheated, is it? I mean, can you own some of it? Can you hold yourself accountable to it? And again, I'm not saying it in a way that is attacking you or blaming you. It's just another way to look at what's going on for ourselves, because it's peace that we want. I don't want more conflict. I don't want to be right about the conflict, Because if I just agreed with you, yeah, it's wrong, and we should, totally punish those that do wrong. All that does is bring a collective fear into the space, a collective judgment into space. So I know that is the boundary of, and it also requires trust. Because at any given moment, and I was talking to my actually, this is funny. So it's not just about a relationship with your significant other, but our partnerships. So I've been forming a lot of partnerships in business, and I've recently learned that there's a thing where you have to figure out the breakup of the partnership. Let's talk about the breakup of the partnership. I guess this is the same thing as prenups. But let's organize and figure out the breakup, because partnerships aren't really meant to last a lifetime. That's what, in the business world and investing, it's kind of like that. So where do we make this is why we get confused. Because sometimes partnerships should be like that, sometimes it shouldn't, and then we take on two different teachers. But we can't actually be separate. There is no place where my mind ends and your mind begins. So we are never actually hurting each other. We are just hurting ourselves through our thoughts and our beliefs and the curriculum that we've allowed ourselves to be in. The ego promotes separation and brings you to war, brings you to fear. What happens if they cheat on me? What happens if I cheat on them? A lot of conflict. But it's not ever really the doing that hurts us. It's the thoughts that hurts us. And so we go back to not the question of whether or not something happened or if it exists or it doesn't, but it's whether it has the power to pull you down. More often than not, can't we always find that when we are in a very dark and deep painful place in our lives, that it was actually the best thing that ever happened to us? That, man, I really I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for that happening. If it wasn't for my father passing, or my dog passing away, or my wife leaving me, or my girlfriend cheating on me, then I wouldn't be here now. And that's no different. We can choose to be in suffering now, or we can choose to be in to end we can choose to end the suffering now by changing our minds, or we can choose to change our suffering later. But there's only love in this space. Even if it seems like there's, pain, but it's not. And if I give it over to God, I don't really know. I don't know if this person cheating on me is supposed to be the greatest lesson for me, but I can trust, I have faith. So I'm not scared of it happening. And if I am scared of it happening in some level, I'm just really going to be calling that to myself. So, yeah. Do you guys want to who seems like there's people that want to chime in on this conversation. So, please feel free to unmute yourself and do so.
Hey Alex, it's Donna.
Hello.
So I feel like I had a little breakthrough recently. I was actually able to be in the same space as someone who, I had to distance myself from because I was bringing a lot of pain. So that felt like a plus. But when we were just talking about like bringing it to love, like I don't even know how to get there from like, okay, acceptance of being in the same space to bringing it back to love. It seems like a very far distance. So I was just curious about your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, we literally choose to be in suffering. And then, but so why is it that sometimes we can't get out of the suffering, and then but time allows us to see things as they are. We're like, oh, I can now be but this is why I say you don't have to keep yourself in that space. If you're in this space of fear, and you're sitting inside and you're forcing yourself to go through it, you need not do that. You can just remove yourself from the place and simply heal from a distance. We can always do that.
I mean, that's what I did. I
Yeah.
removed myself for a number of years and then I healed a lot.
Yeah.
But still a lot to go, I guess, to bring it to love,
Mhm.
versus just I can be in a space.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's we got to give our trust over. We give it over to God. I don't know how to be in this moment. I don't know what my lesson is supposed to be in this moment, but I give it all up to you because it's peace that I want. When we try to hold on to it and fight it, our minds are so insane that we just keep going in circles. We go in circles and then it always comes back down to blaming the other person for my suffering. I don't want the suffering anymore. Here, God, you take it. You show me a sign. You do as you will with it. I'm just going to remove myself from this conflict and you decide for me, God. And oftentimes when we're ready for forgiveness, the physical form of this world will reflect that back to us cuz this world is just but it's a mirror showing us what's in the way for us. When we can truly see it that way, everything becomes lessons. And those lessons bring us a lot of joy and fulfillment. We're like, aha, these aha moments are amazing. But they'll only come. These aha moments are like miracle moments. Miracles are natural state is a natural state of the world. Every moment could be miracles. It's up to you. It's up to you to decide this is a miracle moment. This is a life-changing moment. I'm actually doing a podcast called That Changed My Life. So open to anybody that's listening here right now to come and share a story. Okay, share a story so we can find the miracle moments. But we've reached our time here, so I want to close this out with a final lesson. I hope this lesson will bring peace to your day. Um, so thank you guys for being here for journeying with me in this time this morning, Sunday morning. We'll do it again Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. But yeah, everything that we've talked about this morning, take a deep breath in, let it out, and let all of it out. Knowledge is not the reason why we study. Knowledge is not the reason why we pursue this. Peace. Peace is the reason why we pursue the course. And there is nothing that we've talked about. There is nothing that you don't already know. So, lesson 338 today, allow this to touch you and flow through you. Allow to have your faucet be a little more open today so water can flow through you. Lesson 338. I am affected only by my thoughts. It needs but this to let salvation come to all the world. For in this single thought is everyone released at last from fear. Now has he learned that no one frightens him and nothing can endanger him. He has no enemies and he is safe from all external things. His thoughts can frighten him, but since these thoughts belong to him alone, he has the power to change them and exchange each fear thought for a happy thought of love. He crucified himself, yet God has planned that his beloved son be redeemed. Your plan is sure, my father, only yours. All other plans will fail. And I will have thoughts that will frighten me until I learn that you have given me the only thought that leads me to salvation. Mine alone will fail and lead me nowhere. But the thoughts you gave me promises to lead me home because it holds your promise to your son. I am affected only by my thoughts. Now, this course is written in, you know, it says he for everything, but he is simply just a representation of children, of child. And you can replace it with she, with it, with whatever you want to. You can replace God with energy, with source, with anything. All right. So again, I am affected only by my thoughts. This is a world of ideas, not really in a world of form. So live in the idea of peace and love and acceptance and joy and gratitude today. Go out there and know that all things are opportunities to learn. So many blessings to all of you. Peace and joy to everyone. Amen. Aho. See you on Wednesday.